You did everything the plan told you to do. Ate enough protein, trained hard, slept fine. And 12 weeks later, nothing changed. That's not a motivation problem, and it's not a genetics problem either. At least not yet. It's that almost everything you were told about how muscle actually gets built skips the part your body cares about most. It starts with a threshold most people never even know exists. Every rep you do sends a signal into your muscle. That signal alone builds nothing. Mechanical tension just knocks on the door. What actually answers is a protein inside your muscle cells called cestrin-2. Think of it as a lock, sitting there waiting for one specific key. The key is an amino acid called leucine, which comes from the protein you just ate. When leucine finds that lock, it lets go of a brake it's been holding onto, and that release flips the switch that tells your body, start building. And if you fall short of that threshold, even slightly, even by accident, the door never opens, no matter how brutal the workout was. Your body needs somewhere around 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine in one sitting to trigger it. Under that number, the signal from your workout has nowhere to go. The switch isn't about effort, it's about whether one specific amount of fuel showed up on time. So you're hitting that threshold. Good. Except most people are still sabotaging it with a rule that was never true to begin with. For decades, the advice was, don't eat more than 25 or 30 grams of protein in one sitting, or the rest gets wasted. That's why people force-fed themselves 6 tiny meals a day. In 2023, a research team at Maastricht University in the Netherlands actually tested that ceiling properly, tracking exactly where protein went after people ate either 25 grams or a full 100-gram dose after a workout. The bigger dose wasn't wasted. It didn't get burned off any faster either. Instead, digestion just slowed down and released that fuel steadily for over 12 hours instead of 4, keeping the switch turned on 4 times longer. Which means every time you skipped a meal because you'd already had enough protein today, you were shutting the door early on hours of muscle building your body was still ready to do. Your body was never wasteful, it was patient, and most people were starving it early. Here's where most people think they're stuck. If you don't eat meat, dairy, or eggs, surely you're capped. Plant protein just isn't as good, right? In 2021, researchers at the University of São Paulo matched vegans and meat eaters on the exact same daily protein intake and ran both groups through 12 weeks of resistance training, tracking muscle growth with body scans and biopsies. Same result, both groups, confirmed again 2 years later by a separate research team. Equivalent muscle, equivalent strength. The only real difference is volume. Vegans need roughly 50% more protein powder to cross the same threshold, not a different threshold. It's not that plant protein fails, it's just more diluted, gram for gram, in the one amino acid that flips the switch. The switch from earlier doesn't check labels, it checks grams. Fuel's solved. But growing new tissue isn't free, and this is where most people's numbers quietly fall apart. Fat is cheap for your body to store. Muscle isn't. Building a single pound of it costs somewhere around 2,500 extra calories, which is why you actually need a surplus above what you burn, not a deficit, not even maintenance, to grow it all. But here's the part almost nobody expects. One of the biggest levers isn't protein, and it isn't carbs either. It's cholesterol. A study out of Texas A&M followed adults in their 60s through 12 weeks of strength training and found that the people eating the most dietary cholesterol packed on noticeably more lean muscle, even after protein intake was accounted for. Cholesterol repairs the muscle membrane after training tears it up, and it's the direct raw material your body uses to build testosterone, which means the guy terrified of egg yolks might be accidentally starving the exact system that builds the hormone and repairs the tissue he's trying to grow. Your body isn't following a calorie count, it's running a construction site, and cholesterol is on the materials list. Every one of these was already inside your control. The threshold, the timing, the source, the surplus. None of it required different genetics, just different information. The people who look different 12 weeks from now aren't the ones training harder than you. They're the ones who stopped following advice that was quietly working against them. If you want to actually see where your surplus and your body composition stand right now, instead of guessing, there's a body composition scale linked in the description that tracks exactly that. Worth checking before your next 12 weeks starts.